Hey guys, as you know, years ago I was in the corporate environment, and something I always hated, I suppose they still do this, thank God I'm out of that environment, is this word salad gibberish speech that a lot of executives or managers like to partake in. For example, they will say, "Oh, we got to create a mission statement. We need a mission statement." It's like, what do we need a mission statement? Let's just do our jobs. No. And so we got to get a documented mission statement with objectives. So they spend a lot of time and have a lot of meetings and come up with something that really didn't make a lot of sense. Something like, we aim to be the premier organization with leveraging excellence across a learning organization by combining the synergies of a diverse workforce to create an environment that excites and satisfies the customer. Or I just made that up, but that's something they would come up with like over weeks, right? They'd work on that for weeks. They'd put that together. And we're all supposed to, yeah, that's a good mission statement. And then they'd have objectives from that, usually like, oh, to excite the customer. I'm like, the customer just wants their product at a reasonable price. They don't need to be fucking excited, right? I mean, unless you're a whorehouse. But this is what they had to do. This was their whole shtick. And when I was in the corporate world, I noticed the people that put together this sort of stuff, they weren't that bright. They weren't that bright. I worked with programmers, and programmers, they're pretty straight talking. They could be kind of nerdy and be odd, but they wouldn't engage in this. These were people that would ever have their power ties on, go to the meetings, always have that smile, and they were all into this stuff. And I started to hate these people. And we're starting to see this on the national level. Of course, we've always had it. But if you want to see someone that represents that, someone that's not that bright, but trying to pretend to be bright, is Kamala Harris, which really makes sense because there's a lot of minorities are very intelligent. On the Supreme Court, on Clarence Thomas, right? That guy's brilliant. And Thomas Sowell, all the, the cliche ones, the good ones. But then you have this whole sector of people that are really dull, but they got into their positions because, we need to be diverse. We need a black woman. That's why Joe Biden picked Kamala. She didn't have any real support. And I can see why, because she's just confused all the time and she masks her insecurity with cackling. And it's really bizarre. But, and it came out that CNN did a interview with Kamala Harris. I guess I should put interview in quotes because it wasn't a typical interview. An interview with a candidate, it's like, yeah, I get in front of a room full of people. This is what I would do. Ramsey Paul, right? I'm not trained in this. I could do it better than her. Send me questions. I'll answer it. And you have a full room of reporters and some of the questions are hard and you deal with it. You go back and forth. No. So Kamala Harris wouldn't do any interviews. So she finally has an interview, but she can't do it alone. I need a white guy to come with me. So that goofy, fat Tim Walz showed up with her. And they sat down and they had CNN, right? So the CNN, if you guys don't know, they're a Democrat news outlet. They love Democrats. They love Kamala. They're going to give her softball questions, make it as easy as possible on her. You don't have to stand Kamala. You and your little fat guy just sit down and we'll just ask questions. And Kamala had her notes because she doesn't know what to say. She just reads. She's used to the teleprompter. And so all the questions were really pretty simple. But I guess it was a total disaster because it only went 18 minutes long and we weren't able to see the whole interview. CNN edited it. They said they edited it and they go, no, we're not providing a transcript, no transcript. So we got bits and pieces. And I want to show you an example though, that illustrates the stupidity of Kamala Harris, how she's someone that you would see in your HR department trying to sound like really intelligent, like, we really need to leverage diverse synergy so we have a new paradigm in a learning environment for the global age or something like that, right? This is her. It's a pretty simple question. It was about her. She's flip-flop, right? She used to be against fracking because, it hurts Mother Earth. We got to stop it. And now, because Pennsylvania is a key state, no, I'm not against fracking. So it's an obvious question. What the hell? Why did you make this change? right? And there's answers to it. I could answer this even if I disagreed with it. Let's say if I was Kamala Harris, I would say, yes, I know that I used to oppose fracking because it is damaging to the environment, but we do have some realities that we have to currently live with oil. We want to eventually move away from that. So I haven't really changed my position. I'm against fracking, but the timeline's a little bit different. At this point, it's just too soon. So that's why I've adjusted my position, because I learned how that is. This is one example, right? I just made this off the top of my head, but that would sound a lot better. And you may disagree. I would disagree with it, but would sound pretty good. Instead, she answers like this.
That the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics.
You notice right here, she's looking down at her notes. So she already has this scripted. She probably knew this question was coming. And she starts out, the climate change crisis is real. And here she goes.
That include holding ourselves to deadlines around time.
Deadlines around time. We got to hold ourselves to deadlines that are around time. But what does deadline means? A deadline means when something is due. How do you have a deadline that doesn't involve time? Right? Are you that stupid? Yeah, she is that stupid, because this just sounds good. She doesn't really have an answer, so she's just spewing out these words. Deadlines that involve time.
We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act.
What the hell? The Inflation Reduction Act, we were talking about fracking in your flip-flop, and then she quickly moves on to another subject. So this is an example. She doesn't really understand this stuff. She doesn't understand what fracking is. She doesn't understand the economy. She doesn't understand any of this stuff. She got in her position because she's a female and black. Let's be honest. That's the reason she's there. She's not that bright, and she's confused. She gets nervous. She has to look at her notes, and she says words that she's heard. She doesn't really understand the context of those words. She can't really explain okay, this is why I had the position. This is why I now got off my position. That's not an explanation she gave there. That's not at all. An explanation, again, is explained, well, because I think fracking it doesn't really harm the environment. I learned that'd be an explanation. Or to be honest, say, hey, I need to win Pennsylvania, so I can't be opposed to fracking. It'd be refreshingly honest, cynical, but honest. But this is a non-answer. Why are you now flip-flop like on fracking? Because I think climate change is a real reality we got to be concerned with. Oh, okay, so you want to keep in fracking, right? And we got to have deadlines and metrics that involve time. Well, duh. Okay, so you're still for fracking, banning it? Because that was one of your deadlines, right? And we got to stick to that, and that's like the Inflation Reduction Act. Well, you didn't answer the question. You didn't answer the question at all. And the person interviewing her, she didn't do any pushback. Someone that interviews, I interview people, I would say, well, what do you mean by that? The question was, you were opposed to fracking, now you're support it, or you're okay with it, and you gave this gibberish answer about deadlines around time and how climate change is real and is so important. Okay, if it's so real and so important and we have these deadlines around time, why did you change your position? And she wouldn't be able to answer that. She'd go, ah, and she'd just cackle like a strange witch. This is where we are in America now. It's just crazy. Talk to you guys later.